Good morning, and welcome to the garden. Welcome to Garden Conversations with Rose. Today is July the 10th, and today is a very special day for me because, on one hand, it makes me a month older, and as I've always said before, whenever the 10th of every month comes around, it gives me a time to reflect either on where I've been or where I'm going. So last month I celebrated my birthday, and today I am a month older. And 6 months ago, today, on today's date, I, along with a group of other women, came together in a safe space that was called, or that is called, Sisters Supporting Sisters, where we were encouraged to use our words as much as possible and the words of other women to encourage each other to raise points, discussion, viewpoints, issues that are all related to women with a view to us giving support. And so today, the trend continues, and this post is dedicated to women everywhere. So we as women, we share some common threads that we can't deny. All of us, as females, we are the daughters of our mothers and our fathers. Each of us would have had to deal with the onset of the menstrual cycle and either the fright, the concern, the discomfort, the trauma, the talk or the no talk in some instances that came along with it. We would have had to deal as well with female, our crushes, our no crush, as adolescents, the changes of puberty in our bodies. We have had to deal also with some discrimination based on our gender, and as well what society thinks we ought or ought not to be participating in or even to be doing. But we are unique beings, and so there are some things that make us specifically unique to ourselves and ourselves alone. So of course, we are of different ethnicities, in some instances of different races, and in other instances we are of different skin tones. We have a difference with the way we see certain things. We have our varying views about certain matters. Our physique is very different, and we have different shapes. We have a different sense of fashion and style. We often sport our hair in different ways. We have our own career that is different. Our skills differ in many instances. But a common thing that I'd wish to emphasize is that the support that we ought to give each other is very, very crucial, because I think society has had a way of putting us against each other. We are sometimes, in many, many instances, very suspicious of another female when she comes up with a venture, when she wants to do something, even in a space where we ought to be sharing sometimes our suspicion and maybe our fear keeps us silent in many regards. And of course, there's nothing wrong with being discretionary and having one's antenna up, but very, very often we are quite suspicious. So when we can offer some good nugget, we say nothing. Sometimes we are jealous too of each other, and we often look down in disdain at another female if she does not dress the way we ought to, or her behavior and attitude may very, very well differ from what we are accustomed to or what we would prefer. And sometimes our sense of judgment is often very, very harsh towards other females like ourselves. But I'd like to say very, very strongly that it is important for us to support each other. And every time I think of support, my mind goes back consistently on the phenomenon or the reality of sexual abuse or even domestic abuse. that is so prevalent in our society, in the world, I believe, and often goes across racial lines, economic lines, societal lines, even for those of us who think we have a high academic standing, it occurs there as well. And it doesn't matter from which bracket we emerge, the idea of sexual abuse and domestic abuse is harsh and doesn't do us any good. So, particularly in that regard, we ought to be supportive. So, my word out there is for all of us women today to find a way to support another female. And especially if you have a female child, do all that you can, go all out, do your utmost best to offer her the support and guidance she needs. We must come together more often to support. So whether it is by a word or a bit of advice that we would have encountered along the way, or even an experience that has taught us something, not with a view to be judgmental, but with a view to assist. I urge you today, we women out there, on July the 10th, 2021, to offer a word of encouragement, to be supportive of other women like yourself. We urge you to do that. We owe it to each other to be supportive of each other.